That was the most amazing series of movie trailers. I have to tell you guys, I play in so many music venues, and most of them don't come close to this level of effort and awesomeness. Hey everybody, my name is Emily Scott Robinson. Thank you for being here tonight. It's true. I guess I'm on God's good side today. Okay, so I know that Jordan said that there's lots of microphones in the room and not to talk, but I just have to tell you, I love an audience that talks to me. So, maybe this isn't the place to air your local gossip, but definitely talk back to me. I like a lively audience. I'm going to start on a song on my brand new record, American Siren, which came out a week ago. Oh my goodness. Thanks. And this is one that I had a little bit of help writing. I wrote the chorus first. This is called Things You Learn the Hard Way. And the chorus is, things you learn the hard way, some lessons you can't teach. Until you're living through them, the wisdom's out of reach. Things you learn the hard way. And I know that I'm in a room full of people who understand that feeling, right? So when I started writing it, I was so excited about the song, but I realized I didn't have enough of my own life experience to fill up a song. I'd learned some things the hard way, and most of them had to do with cars. So I got on Facebook, and I decided to ask all my friends on Facebook, what are some things you learned the hard way? And I got over 200 comments. Some of them were very, very funny, and some of them were totally devastating. And it was amazing. And so everything in this song is true for someone out there in the world. This is Things You Learn the Hard Way. Be careful with that bottle when you have your first drink. The pull that it'll have on you is stronger than you think. Don't speed through a small town or push an empty tank. And when that farmer stops to give you gas, be sure to tell him thanks. Always check the oil in your 20-year-old car before you leave for college, or you won't make it very far. Things you learn the hard way, some lessons you can't teach. Until you're living through them, the wisdom's out of reach. Things you learn the hard way. Things you learn the hard way. Don't get married in a church called Mother of Our Sorrows. As if it don't feel right today, it won't feel right tomorrow. A baby will not be enough to get a man to stay. 'Cause you can't change or fix someone, you gotta let him walk away. Don't go to a dry well looking for a drink. And never leave your wedding band too close to the kitchen sink. Things you learn the hard way, some lessons you can't teach. Until you're living through them, the wisdom's out of reach. Things you learn the hard way. Things you learn the hard way. When someone's trust is broken, it's not an easy thing to fix. And when Grandpa comes for dinner, Lord, don't bring up politics. Be sure to call your mama every Sunday after Mass. You won't be ready when you lose her, and it happens way too fast. Sometimes the deepest healing comes through the darkest night, and you can't believe how often now your mother's words were right. Things you learn the hard way, some lessons you can't teach until you're living through them. The wisdom's out of reach. Things you learn the hard way. Things you learn the hard way. Ooh. You ain't never gonna forget the things you learn the hard way. Things you learn the hard way. Oh, thank you. One thing I've learned the hard way is not to schedule shows on the coast of South Carolina during hurricane season. This is y'all, third time's a charm, because I was supposed to be here about 2 years ago, and there was a hurricane, and so we had to cancel and reschedule, and then there was a different sort of hurricane, the COVID hurricane, that had us reschedule again, and so it's so good to finally be here at the roasting room. I grew up in North Carolina. Oh, yeah. What part are you from? Hickory! I'm from Greensboro. Hi. I know we're in a room full of South Carolinians. So in Georgia, that's true. We must be careful. I mean, the truth is anybody here actually from Hilton? Come now. I know that most of you are not, and that's okay. You found your home later in life, and this is a beautiful one. So I grew up in North Carolina, and oh my goodness. Oh, I have a pick in there. That's why it sounded like that. Okay. Wow. I've got multiple picks on me right now. So this next song is about the very first time I ever went west. Right after college. I did not go west of the Mississippi until after college. And I moved out to Colorado. It was a little bit of manifest destiny calling me out there. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And this next song is called Westward Bound. And it's sort of a travelogue of what it's like to drive all the way across Texas. If any of y'all have ever made that drive, you know that it's very long. And I've driven across it many times. And every time I try to find a more interesting way. And that does not exist. But there's something about those wide open spaces and those empty old ranching towns that really inspires the writer in me. Packed a suitcase, sold the rest. I couldn't wait to leave that town. U.S. highway rolling west with all the windows down. Turns out I'm not a city girl. I miss the trees and sky and ground. I need to see what part of me that I lost can still be going westward bound. Ooh, westward bound. Stop for breakfast in the middle of West Texas at a diner stuck in time, where old men read the paper, take their coffee black every morning of their lives, and the waitress knows them all by name, got their orders memorized. And this is the America that the interstate left behind, going westward bound. Ooh, westward bound. Past the cornfields, the UFO museum, little churches washed in white, with names like Holy Restoration, Tabernacle of Eternal Life. In the mountains of New Mexico, I crossed the Great Divide, flip through the empty radio and drive on through the night. I got 1,000,000 miles on this car. What's 1,000 more? Traveling so light that I might soar. I might soar, going westward bound. You gotta get lost if you wanna get found, westward bound. Oh, thank you. Everything in that song is also true. There is actually a church somewhere in the middle of New Mexico called the Holy Restoration Tabernacle of Eternal Life. And having grown up in the Bible Belt, I thought I had seen the longest church name possible. But apparently, I had not. And there are just some things that kind of pop out to me in the world, and I go, that has to be in a song. I have to find a way to put that in there. So, when I was in high school, well, first of all, I'm going to ask, do y'all have the junior league down here? Of course you do. Of course you do. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, I know you do. We are we are in the South. There's definitely a junior league. There's a junior league reference in this song. It is a kind one. I figured since this is the furthest south I've traveled to play a gig in a little while, I'd give you my most southern story, the most southern thing that's ever happened to me. Hey, Jordan, while I'm talking in between songs, is there a way to kill the delay in the house? Oh, thank you. It's just that I talk so much that I don't know if y'all want to hear the echo of my own voice coming back. So when I was in high school, I was looking for ways to help pay for college because college is expensive. And I was looking for scholarships, and I saw a flyer for something called Junior Miss, a scholarship competition for young ladies. And the grand prize was $10,000. And now that I'm a little older, I realize actually how little $10,000 is worth when your pride is on the line. But that felt like a lot of money to me, and so I entered Junior Miss thinking it was a scholarship competition, and I walked into a beauty pageant for which I was pretty much unprepared. My mom, who's here tonight, was there that day, that fateful day. And I came with my clarinet and my brains, and I was so ready to win a scholarship. And it turns out that I had to, the only scholarship portion of the day was standing in a prom dress in a line of other girls in a Methodist church fellowship hall, answering the question, who is your favorite president? Oh no, is right. I was like, oh my God. All these girls were like, they had all kinds of very nice in the pocket answers. And I was like, Abraham Lincoln. And I gave a dissertation on Reconstruction and the South and the Union and American history. And they were like, okay, thank you. Anyways, it was really not my cup of tea. And then one day I was driving and I was listening to the radio, and I heard on the radio that Junior Miss had stopped operating in North Carolina. I think it's still alive and well in all the other southern states. But there's no more Junior Miss. And I thought, I gotta write a song about beauty pageants. So here is the title track off my very first record. This is called Magnolia Queen. I was Magnolia Queen back in '63. Beat out 100 girls in the state of Tennessee. That's the kind of crown you wear for more than just a year. Came time to give it up, had to hide my tears. Well, thank God I spent all that time practicing my smile. 'Cause I had babies, he went to work, and we raised the kids up in the church. Sundays I pray and sing, Mondays are for Junior League. Thought I wanted all those things, Magnolia Queen. Lipstick in country clubs, blushing debutantes, decorating daddy's arm, that's all we were taught. You send the kids to private school out of the neighborhood. Oh yeah, it costs too much, but the public school's no good. Well, thank God I spent all that time practicing my smile. 'Cause I had babies, he went to work, and we raised the kids up in the church. Sundays I pray and sing, Mondays are for Junior League. Thought I wanted all those things, Magnolia Queen. And when the last one left the nest, that third martini won't fill my emptiness. There are no more babies and all that work. I'm tired of waking up for church. Saturday I sneak out, leave him sleeping on the couch, and maybe I could hit the road. 70 to Memphis and just go. Take a ride or see a show with that girl I left behind 30 years ago. When I had babies, he went to work, and we raised the kids up in the church. And I had every single thing. Now all I want's a change of scene, Magnolia Queen. Magnolia Queen. Magnolia Queen, Magnolia Queen. Oh, thank you. I know that there is some recognition in your hearts when you hear that song. I have to tell you, there are places that it's really, a lot of the themes in my music are easily translatable. And I once, the first time I ever went up to Portland, Oregon, I stood on stage in my white boots and my dress with fringe, and I sang that song, and nobody got it. And I was like, oh, bless your hearts. And then I sang it in Boston, and it's like, they didn't really, they're just so stoic and quiet at shows. I'm like, grr. But you know, Boston has its own version of this. It's just like, it's like the Kennedys' version of this song. Oh, man. Okay. It was funny because I did not move on to the finals that day, that fateful day. I think that my scores weren't very good because there was a portion of the day where we were required to learn a tumbling routine. I am not kidding. I wish I was. I was not a sporty kid in high school. I was a clarinetist, and I was in the marching band. And so it was me and a bunch of cheerleaders who were in this beauty pageant, and I did not do well on the tumbling portion. And anyway, so I didn't get in, and that was okay with me because my pride is worth more than $10,000. At least it is now. And and then I was, a couple months later, I was in the marching band, and we were doing a Martin Luther King Jr. Day parade, which we always did, and I was freezing because it's February in North Carolina. It was very cold, and my fingers were all cold, and we're marching down MLK Boulevard in Greensboro, and I see a float passing by, and it's all the Junior Miss girls, and they're dressed in Easter egg colored pastel sweatshirts that say Junior Miss in cursive, and they're all waving like this. And with white gloves on. And I was like, I mean, I'm cold, but at least I'm not doing that. Oh my God, I'm so sorry if any of you were ever in the Junior Miss or involved in it. This makes for good stage banter is what it does. And one time I actually was playing a show in Alabama, and a woman stood up, and she thought it was hilarious, but she was like, I went to the National Junior Miss. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. It was great. Anyways, and she was like, it was just like that. It's just like that, exactly. Okay, this next song is one that is on my brand new album. How many of y'all have ever seen a show in Nashville, Tennessee? Oh, that's a good number of you. Yes. Anybody been to the Ryman? Yeah. I think in a room full of music lovers, this doesn't surprise me. The Ryman is called the Mother Church of country music. It's a really special place, and it's an old church. And I got to see John Prine and Bonnie Raitt play there. Yeah, in the fall of 2019, where we sort of didn't know. I didn't know how special that was going to be because we lost John. And so I was sitting in the Mother Church of country music, and the tickets were pretty expensive, so I bought a cheap seat on the main floor. And the cheap seats are these seats that are obstructed view tickets. So you have a column in front of you. And you can see a lot of the stage, but usually can't see the very middle of the stage. which usually the person you've paid to come see is standing in the middle of the stage. And so I got a cheap seat. But the great thing about the Ryman is you're sitting in church pews like here, and so you can just scoot on over and see you. It's just like a little bit of neck work. And so after that experience, after seeing my heroes up on that stage, I wrote this song called Cheap Seats. Oh, I've been right where you are, putting miles on my car, driving to some dead-end job each day, smiling for my tips, picking up those extra shifts, waitressing on my best years away. Some nights I'll buy a ticket and sit alone in the mother church up in the highest row. I'm in the cheap seats, watching the big show, hoping that one day I'll look back and know that every big dream and every hard prayer and every long road would deliver me up there, singing for the cheap seats, singing for the cheap seats. Halfway through a busy night, I get a song idea to write, and I slip out back to get the chorus down. Now table 28 is complaining about the wait, and my manager just shakes his head and frowns. I won't let them have the best of me. One day I'll quit this job and then they'll see. I'm in the cheap seats, watching the big show, hoping that one day I'll look back and know that every big dream and every hard prayer and every long road would deliver me up there, singing for the cheap seats, singing for the cheap seats. I'm so hungry I can taste it, I want so badly just to make it. I got 1,000 songs inside me left to write. Gotta find my voice and use it, set true north and do not lose it, and keep that candle burning through the night. And I want everything before I'm ready, and it'll only come once I am standing steady. Here's to the cheap seats, now I'm the big show. I wish I could go back and tell that girl what I know, that every big dream and every hard year and every long road would deliver her up here, singing for the cheap seats, singing for the cheap seats. Yeah, here's to the cheap seats. Yeah, here's to the cheap seats. Thank you so much. I'm going to relocate to the piano now. I recently recorded a video of Cheap Seats, and it was like a live recording, and the guy who filmed it afterwards said, is that song about, like, is that about you? And I was like, yeah, of course it is. I'm a songwriter. He's like, oh, you've been a waitress? And I was like, yeah, I was an awful waitress. I talked way too much to my tables. Hang on, I gotta retrieve the sustain pedal. It was like, well, you know in Nashville how a lot of people sing songs that they didn't write? It's a whole thing. I thought it was so weird when I first learned that, like, most country singers don't write their own songs. That in Nashville there's this whole culture of, like, the performer and the songwriter. And the songwriters pitch their songs up to the performers. It's so interesting. And I always thought it was really strange that those processes would be divorced like that. For me, I mean, I have a lot of love for songwriters who want to write and they're not interested in performing. I guess performing is a whole different ballgame. And so is writing. And so I guess not everybody in the world is comfortable with both. I'm gonna find the power button somewhere on this piano. I think it's probably on this back side. The power is off. Okay, great. Hang on one second. Right here? Okay. Reset. I swear, I think that... Thank you. That was really hard. Thanks, Jordan. There's an Anne Lamott quote that I love so much where she's like, I'm just gonna kind of paraphrase it, but it's basically like, everything works again if you just unplug it and plug it back in. Especially humans. And so I feel like, yeah, right? So if you were to take the woman in Magnolia Queen and you were to read her diary, this might be what you actually hear her say. White picket fence, a quiet street, faithful wife of 15 years, mother of 3. I go to church, I say my prayers, but I have never felt the breath of God in there. I followed every rule and played it safe, and I built myself a beautiful cage. The coffee's hot, the kids asleep. This is the only time I feel like I can breathe. But late last night, I locked the door and cried myself to sleep on the bathroom floor. 'Cause I lit a match and held it to my yearning and found out I was a house already burning. I'm on the edge of something wild, on the edge of something free, on the edge of something was so innocent and sure. I was afraid to be alone, so I wrote every vow of loyalty in stone. Is this the life I want for my own daughter? Just trying to keep her head above the water. What if desire is a gift and not a sin? What if this could be the start and not the end? I'm on the edge of something wild, on the edge of something free, on the edge of something reckless. I get down on my knees. If you don't recognize me when I come back around, it's 'cause all the things I thought I'd be, yes, all the things I swore I'd be, I let them all burn to the ground. I let them burn. I let them burn. I let them burn, burn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jordan, for setting up the piano for me for one song. I will now return to the guitar. Thank you. Where did I put my water? Oh, thank you. Recording that song, and that's the new one on my record, and I, for the very first time, got on NPR, and I was so excited. They reviewed my album last Friday on All Songs Considered, and that's a really big deal for me. Oh my gosh! That's a very big deal for me. I grew up listening to NPR. I idolize public radio. I love it so much, and so it was really, really special, and that is the song that they played, and I was excited to hear them describe that song. The reporter said that it steamrolled him and flattened him. He said, I was listening to the song Let 'Em Burn, and it just absolutely just knocked me out, and that's a very high compliment for me. Thank you. I love steamrolling people. It's not actually what I meant to say. I don't love steamrolling people. I like... My mom might disagree with that. But I was just so excited that I had moved these reporters who I love so much, who hear so much music, that they stopped and listened to my record. It meant the world to me. It really did. I'm so proud of it. Thank you. I actually have the new record with me here tonight. Are you guys vinyl fans? Yay! Oh, good. Vinyl is back, in case you didn't know that. I'm sure you do. If you come to the roasting room, you know that people have been making vinyl again for a couple years. And it's kind of incredible, actually. The production of vinyl in the United States almost died out by the early 2000s. And all the vinyl pressing plants had closed in the States. And then vinyl came back. And so then they had to pull all these people out of retirement to teach young people my age how to cut vinyl properly. Because it's an incredibly fine physical medium, and it's really hard to do it well, and there's so much involved in it. And so the first couple years that vinyl is being made again, it didn't sound that good. It sounded like they were back on the learning curve. So it's good again now, and my vinyl is good. So you should buy it. It's my sales pitch. My mom and I will be back there at the merch table after the show. Would love to meet you and talk to you and sign a record. We also have CDs, which are great because I still have a car that was made in the year of our Lord, 2006. And it has a compact disc player. And I love CDs because I don't have to fiddle with my phone while I'm driving. It's a lot safer. Anyways, I don't know if my car is a lot safer. It's like 15 years old, but at least I'm not messing with my phone. That's true. That's true. So that thing in Things You Learn the Hard Way about changing the oil in your car, I ran a car dry, an old Toyota station wagon. It was the first car I ever owned, and it is a family legend now, and I will never live it down. And that was my mom telling me to change the oil. I told you. This next song has a hot priest in it. I know. This is probably my most PG-13 song. And I got the idea for this song. A lot of times lately I've been coming up with a chorus first and then the verses. And so I got the idea for this chorus. The song is called If Trouble Comes A-Lookin'. And we talk about, in our culture, in our language, we say that people go looking for trouble. And then I thought, what if trouble is like its own force in the universe that goes out there looking for people who are looking for it? And trouble has its kind of own will and is like magic in some ways. And so that's where I got the idea for this song. What is there in Little Rock at the Hilton Doubletree? It was fun to figure out which hotel to put in this song. Holiday Inn and Express is very hard to rhyme, so Hilton Doubletree. Hopefully I can get a sponsorship out of this. Although once you hear the song, I don't know if they're gonna want to sponsor me. I don't know, I think they will. It's a pretty spicy song. Some awesome things happen at this hotel. What is there in Little Rock at the Hilton Doubletree? Just a woman far from home, 1,000 miles out to sea. She walks over to the window, pulls the curtain shut, pours 3 fingers of whiskey in a flimsy plastic cup, sits down on the bedspread, takes off her wedding ring. If she does something dark enough, he might just set her free. It's her mother's diamond in a shining golden band. Another woman who spent most her life loving the wrong man. If trouble comes a-looking, she won't be hard to find. She's sitting in the hotel bar on her second glass of wine. She put a pretty dress on, wiped the tears out of her eyes. And if trouble comes a-looking, she won't be hard to find. Just 2 floors down is Brother John from Our Lady of Grace. He is older now, but handsome still, with such a lonely face. He picked a hotel off the interstate where even God won't find him. Runs his fingers through the rosary and locks the door behind him. How was Christ so perfect? How on earth did he resist the perfume on a woman's neck, the softness of her lips? He burned and burned for years with the fire of devotion, but some things are impossible to stop once they're in motion. If trouble comes a-looking, he won't be hard to find. He's sitting in the hotel bar on his second glass of wine. Across the empty room he glances up to meet her eyes, and if trouble comes a-looking, he won't be hard to find. At quarter till the bartender will make the final call, and she'll slip down off her stool and sway slowly down the hall, and he'll kiss her like she always wanted, back against the wall, and she'll step out of her dress looking like Eve before the fall. If trouble comes a-looking, they won't be hard to find. They're tangled in each other's arms in room 229. They never strayed this far into the shadows of the night, and if trouble comes a-looking, they won't be hard to find. If trouble comes a-looking, they won't be hard to find. Not every infidelity is bound to end in shame. She'll smile 1 month later when a letter bears his name. Brother John has gone to France and Italy to travel, where all of his ideas of God will happily unravel. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to decide what to play after the Hot Priest song. Sometimes I write, I always write a set list to go from, and then I always change it during the show. I just like to improvise and go with how things feel. Okay, I think the next song I'm gonna play is one that, I wanted to take a moment because we've lost so many great musicians this year and in the past couple of years. Whew, it's been really intense. And one of the ones that we've lost is Nancy Griffith. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thanks to my mom, I grew up listening to Nancy Griffith, and I could probably play a 2-hour show of all Nancy Griffith songs. I haven't mentioned this yet, but I'm signed to John Prine's record label. Thank you. It's awesome. It's so great. I got a record deal, which is wonderful in and of itself. But thank you. Thank you. And it's with John Prine's label, which he started in 1981 because he, quote, didn't want some swarthy middleman in Cincinnati running his music label and taking a cut. So he started his own label in 81, Oh Boy Records. Oh Boy! And the story behind his name was that he said, well, I'm going to call it Oh Boy. And they said, well, why? And he said, well, because if things are going well, I can say, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And if things aren't going well, I can say, oh boy. So it's Oh Boy Records, and they're awesome. And his wife, Fiona, is the president of the label. And she told me that in the last year of John's life, he called Nancy, because they were old friends. And she was, Nancy stopped performing about 10 years ago, close to that. Maybe actually around 2007 were some of her last performances. And she kind of went into a bit more of isolation in her later years. And he called her several times and he said, Nancy, there are so many young women songwriters out here who love you and they admire you and they're big fans of yours and they could really learn a lot from you. You know, you could be their mentor and you're really loved. And she had a hard time believing that. And so wherever she is right now, this is for her, who taught us so much. Gulf Coast Highway, he worked the rails, he worked the rice fields and their cool dark wells. He worked the oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico. The only thing we've ever owned is this old house here by the road. And when he dies, he says he'll catch some blackbird's wing and he will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. She walked through springtime when I was home. Our days were sweet, the nights were warm. Seasons change, jobs would come, flowers fade. This old house felt so alone when the work took me away. And when she dies, she says she'll catch some blackbird's wing and she will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. Highway 90, the jobs are gone. We tend our garden, we set the sun. This is the only place on earth blue bonnets grow, and once a year they come and go at this old house here by the road. And when we die, we say we'll catch some blackbird's wing and we will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. And when we die, we say we'll catch some blackbird's wing and we will fly away to heaven come some sweet blue bonnet spring. Thank you. What time is it? I lose track of time on stage. 9:01. Oh, okay, all right. All right, we're right on schedule. Hey, Bonnie. Bonnie's my friend from Telluride, but she's from here originally, and I live in Telluride, and she lives in. You still live there? Yeah, I just saw you walking your dog like a week ago. Maybe 2. Man. I live in a state where marijuana is legal. Isn't that fun for me? And I'm not a smoker because I'm a soprano singer, and I don't smoke because that's bad for my voice. But there are lots of other ways to consume marijuana. Anyways, this is not a story about me getting stoned. It is not, I promise. I have this dear friend who... Thank you. I'm getting better at them every night. And I didn't have any marijuana before this. So I have a wonderful friend who started this company where she makes these great topical products like salve and lotion. It's basically things for like sore muscles. And it's a medicinal marijuana company. And it's Mary Jane's Medicinals. And she, but since they don't get you high, they just like, they're nice on your muscles and they help you if you're sore or you're achy. And it's a really amazing, it's very healing. It really is. But you have to go to the dispensary to buy them because they contain THC. So, anyways, she came out with this new product called a hash bath, which is like an Epsom salt soak. It's like a bath bomb, but it has a little bit of weed in it. So it's like smells like lavender and rosemary and all these lovely scents. And it also smells like a little bit like weed. And it's wonderfully relaxing. And this was March. I was going into the studio in 2 weeks, and I only had 9 songs for my record. And 9 is like a weird number. I really wanted 10. In fact, my record deal actually, contractually, in order to make a full album, was required to have 10 songs on it. So I really needed another song. But I was really stressed out. So I was like, I'm going to take a hash bath. So I sat in the bath for about an hour and a half. And I got really nice and relaxed. And then I wrote this song. This is the last one for the album. I popped right out of the bath and was like, I've got it. Great. Hope this is the right key. I think that's a half step too high. All right. You guys don't want to hear me commit to a key that's too high for my voice. I used to pray for my life to be easy. I used to wish all my dreams would come true. I used to have it planned down to the minute. When you're young, that's just what you do. Then I had my heart shattered and scattered, and I wandered the world on my own. And at a bar down south of the border, I met another girl drinking alone. Well, I could tell that her spirit was kindred, and we traded stories till dawn of dead ends and dark times and lovers. The red wine poured out like a song. Sisterhood softens the edges of our burdens and worries and cares. And as the stars faded into the sunrise, she whispered the lost woman's prayer. Grant you grace for the hard days, and may you be kind to yourself. reckless and headlong towards your biggest fears. Pull your dusty dreams down off the shelf. Let your life be of service. Turn your pain into purpose. And open your doors to the wind and the rain. And may you be forever changed. Well, she caught a ride down to Cabo, and I didn't see her for years. But we wrote the occasional letter, confessing our hopes and our fears. There were weddings and bank loans and babies, divorces and late night phone calls. And through the ups and the downs and the lost and the founds, I remembered that prayer through it all. Grant your grace for the hard days, and may you be kind to yourself. Run reckless and headlong towards your biggest fears. Pull your dusty dreams down off the shelf. Let your life be of service. Turn your pain into purpose. And open your doors to the wind and the rain. And may you be forever changed. May you be forever changed. On a night off a tour I called you. Said, old friend, I am here in your town. We got drinks down at Johnny's on State Street. Can't believe they haven't torn this place down. We laughed till we cried and we gossiped and lied when the bartender asked us our age. Let's raise up our glass. Here's a toast to the past, and a toast as we turn a new page. May we be forever changed. May we be forever changed. Thank you. I realized after I wrote that song that while it was inspired by marijuana, is that it's really like a song very centered around alcohol. It's like my version of a drinking song, and it's based on the friendships that I have with women, and I'm in my mid-30s now, and so I've been friends with several of my closest friends for a couple of decades since I was a teenager, and it's a beautiful thing to walk with your friends through different decades of your life, and so that's really a song about old friends. This next one is one that I wrote for my cousin. His name is James, and he served in the military. He served in Afghanistan, and he was quite a few years younger than me, but we had birthdays that were really close to each other. I don't know about y'all, but I grew up very close with my cousins. Very close. We're kind of like extended siblings. And so we celebrated our birthdays together every year. When I was in college, James was in high school, and he really wanted to join the Army. And so he signed up when he was 17, and he went to basic training when he was 18 down at Fort Bragg. I said down, but it's really up from here. But he served in Afghanistan, and he was an Army Ranger. And like many veterans, he had a really complicated experience with his service. He came back pretty broken from a lot of the things that he'd experienced, and he was also really, really proud. And we were proud of him and for him. But his platoon went through so much while he was there, and he saw a lot of his close friends die. And I think as his family members, we all just hoped that he was okay. And he came back home and he got married to a wonderful woman, and they had 3 children. And James was not okay, and he was never okay. And he tried very hard to be okay, and he fought as hard as he could. But he died by suicide 2 years ago. And I understood when this happened. It was so personal to our family, but it was also the story of thousands and thousands of veterans and their families who have died this way. And so I wanted to write his story and share it because he was I think he would have wanted people to know. Yeah, so this is called Hometown Hero. You should be with us now. You should be here. We should be sitting by the fire on our second round of beers. We open the whiskey. We're out back in the shop. We're raising our glass to you, still numb from the shock. 'Cause you're the only one who's a missing, and it doesn't feel right. You should be tucking in your baby girl and kissing her goodnight. And your son is full of questions about how Daddy got to heaven. We never thought you'd go this way. You were only 27. Our hometown heroes in the news today. The flags are flying at half-mast. We buried you on a clear blue All Saints Day, to the lonesome sound of trumpet playing taps. You went to Afghanistan. You were only 19, and you never talked much about the things that you'd seen. You came back to your hometown to start a new life. Had a couple of babies and a beautiful wife. But the demons that you lived with, you hid well, we never saw. The guns that you kept loaded and the patches in the wall. She was in the kitchen making lunches, and the kids were in their beds. In a flash we lost you to the war inside your head. Our hometown heroes in the news today. The flags are flying at half-mast. We buried you on a clear blue All Saints Day, to the lonesome sound of trumpet playing taps. And a father should never have to bury his own son. He throws a shovel full of dirt down, and we follow one by one. Your kids are gonna grow up asking about you, how you could love someone and leave them, and how both things could be true. Our hometown heroes in the news today. The flags are flying at half-mast. We buried you on a clear blue lonesome sound of trumpet playing taps. To the lonesome sound of trumpet playing taps. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thanks. James is a wonderful father and a huge music fan, and he would text me. This was like, he was so excited about my career, and I can just like feel, every once in a while I can really feel him hanging out. Like I'm like, James is here. He was so excited when I would reach a milestone or I'd get some press, and he would text me and go, "You're on my Apple Music homepage next to Kanye." He was like, "I can't believe it, you're right next to him." So yeah, thank you. Yeah. I realize when I sing that song, you realize like I come from Scotch Irish stock, because when something happens, we drink. That's like, and English. It's just kind of a booze-soaked heritage. But it was like we just didn't. Sometimes things happen, and you just don't know what to do except gather around and raise a glass and say, "Man, we love you and we miss you, and we'll take care of your family and we will always remember you." Yeah. Sorry. I keep talking. I'm like, here's a song about hope. I wrote this one during the lockdown that we all thought. Remember when we were like, flatten the curve by Easter? Woo! Okay. Well, yeah. So musicians. I said to Jordan before. By the way, can we just give a round of applause to the roasting room? And oh wow. And by the way, I got a couple songs left, but y'all, if you need to move around a little bit, if you need to use the bathroom, I mean, it's just, do it. Take care of yourself. Get a drink. I'll play a couple more, but I said to Jordan during soundcheck, I said, "Hey, congrats on making it through." And he said, "You too." Because a lot of venues closed for good. And the roasting room was able to hang on, and I'm so happy. Yes. So thank you for having such a special place, and thanks to everybody working tonight. Me too. Third time's a charm. I've been looking forward to it for so long. So I wrote this song during the pandemic, the first big lockdown in May, when I was going a little bit crazy. And I know I was going crazy because I was, when you're depressed, but you're like, I'm not depressed, I'm fine. And then you look back and you're like, woo, I was definitely depressed. Spending a lot of time at home, sort of parsing out my hours of the day. I think one thing that was hard for me was that this experience of playing music in a room full of people is so healing and so energizing for me. This is my favorite thing in the world to do. And I feel so lucky that I get to do this in this life. It's really good medicine. And so I think for all of us to lose that for quite a significant period of time was very hard on all of us. And So I was walking around, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, and a writer I really love, her name is Cheryl Strayed. She wrote the book Wild, which is her memoir about walking the Pacific Crest Trail. And she's also written a beautiful collection of advice columns called Dear Sugar. And if you've never read any of Cheryl Strayed, please immediately go to a bookstore tomorrow and buy something by Cheryl Strayed. So she's my favorite writer, and she did a podcast during the lockdown called Sugar Calling, and she was interviewing other writers all over the age of 65 to ask for their wisdom during this hard time. And she had a call with George Saunders. I don't know if I'm in a room full of book nerds or not, but I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And so she had a call with George Saunders, and I'm listening to the podcast, and they're talking about what it means to write, what's happening in the world, what is our job as writers. And she, the idea is that our job is to reflect what's happening around us and to tell the story. And they're talking about this poet, this Russian poet. And the Russian poet is, in this story, realize I'm like a story within a story within a story, but hang with me. It's like a Russian doll moment. I'm going to unpack it all. So in this story, there's a Russian poet, a famous Russian poet. Her name is Maria, and I can't remember her last name. And she was a poet during the Stalinist era, and her husband was in prison. He was a political prisoner. And she would go in every day and stand in line to bring him bread in prison. She would stand in line with all the family members of the people in prison. And she was known in her community for being a famous poet. And one day a woman turned around to her and gestured, and she said, "Poet, can you write this?" And I was walking around a neighborhood that I did not live in, and I just started crying. And I was like, oh, this is my job. This is my job, is to write this, what's happening. And so I set out to do that. This is called The Time for Flowers. I went walking down the road with a heavy heart and miles left to go, and I came upon a woman in a field on her knees, singing ancient songs and sowing wildflower seeds. Tell me, what's the point in planting pretty things in these days of darkness and disease? The world is burning, have you not heard? And she smiled and said, honey, I've lived long enough to learn. The time for flowers will come again. Maybe in 1 year, maybe in 10. There are days despair will win. The time for flowers will come again. Cause I have witnessed funerals and wars, worried mothers, empty shelves, empty stores. The storms will rage and the winds will blow, and you are gonna find out that you're stronger than you know. And the time for flowers will come again. Maybe in 1 year, maybe in 10. There are days despair will win, but the time for flowers will come again. And when I woke up this morning, something deep had shifted. The sun was coming out and the clouds had finally lifted. It's time to fix what's broken, all the willing and the able. And when our honest work is done, we'll gather at this table. We'll hold each other's babies and pour each other's wine, and promise to remember that your fate's bound up in mine. The skies are clear now, the moon is new. Let's raise a glass, my friends, we made it through. And the time for flowers has come again. And though it seemed the world would end, there were days despair did win. But the time for flowers has come again. The time for flowers has come again. Thank you. We had a really fun time making a music video for that. I asked all my friends who were all around the country to submit pictures and videos of themselves during the pandemic. And a lot of friends of mine work in healthcare, and a lot of them were doing a bunch of volunteering, and it was wonderful. And so if you want to go to my YouTube channel and watch the video, it's the Time for Flowers video. It's got a lot of cute kids in it too. Because it just feels like kids are our best hope. All right. This has been such a lovely evening. Thank you all so much for having me. So, most important question, where should we get breakfast on our way out of town in the morning? Where? At Cheap Seats. Oh my God, that's right. There's a Cheap Seats Tavern right over here. Cheap Seats Tavern 2. Tavern 1 is... Don't go there, don't go there. Okay, yeah. Like 10 in the morning? Squat and Gobble? What a great name. Squat and Gobble. Okay, great. Oh, okay, I can go downstairs too. Okay, that's good. I was like, there's a place called Downstairs. I always like to ask. Oh, swap and gobble. Squat, like I'm doing squats. Okay, all right. That's good. That's an exciting name. I'd love. Okay, wonderful. Amazing. Oh, man. Okay, so this last song is one I really, really love to end on. It's really about, it's about a good goodbye. This is a song called Overalls. If you thought you were done crying, I'm sorry. This is way cheaper than therapy. It is. It's like a quarter of the price for a good hour of therapy. I've come to be your songwriter therapist. This song is about the father of a friend of mine. When I was starting to do music part-time, about 7 years ago, I was working at a hospital part-time, and so I was like transitioning from full-time job to full-time musician. So I had a little bit, about a year and a half, I was a Spanish interpreter at a hospital. And yeah. Luckily that didn't send anybody to the hospital. Yeah. Somebody up here said ruh-roh. Yes. And I became friends with a doctor because I interpreted in Spanish for a lot of her patients. And she was the youngest child of a World War II veteran, and her dad was in his 90s. And her dad passed away while we were working together. And since she is a doctor, she's the doctor in the family, she had a lot of conversations with him about when his time came, how he wanted to go. And he did not want to be in a hospital. There's a lot of ways that you can extend somebody's life that aren't necessarily great. And so when it came time for him to go, they brought him home, and he's from Cornersville, Tennessee. But Cornersville is too hard to say in a song. So I changed it to Crossville, Tennessee, because Cornersville is just a lot. So it's set in Crossville, but it's actually in Cornersville, which is even smaller. So they brought him back home, and all his kids and grandkids were around, and his wife was there. And he had a couple of very important requests for his funeral. He wanted to be buried in his overalls with a pack of cigarettes and a lighter. Oh, yeah. And he said, y'all can sing Amazing Grace at my funeral, but not all 6 verses, because I ain't going to sit through that. And I thought, Christy, I'm going to write a song about your dad. He deserves a song, right? Because there's so many of that generation who, he lived a lot further. He lived many extra years that he didn't know he was going to get because he was in World War II. And so I think that his perspective on life was pretty healthy. This is Overalls. He wore overalls to meet his king. Took a pack of Marlboro Reds and his wedding ring, and his 50-year-long faithful bride held his hand and walked him to the other side. He said, honey, I'm just so tired of being hooked up to 100 wires. I wanna be in my own bed. Called the kids around and said, raise a glass to my good long life. Don't dress in black, don't let me see you cry. I'm not afraid, I'm just headed home, and it's time to let me go. I probably shouldn't have survived April 1945. We buried half my company, and I wondered why it wasn't me. Well, that's the year I learned to pray, just glad to wake up every day. I'm bound to see those boys again, rolling dice and cigarettes in heaven. So raise a glass to my good long life. Don't dress in black, and don't let me see you cry. I'm not afraid, I'm just headed home, and it's time to let me go. man come up to me at a show one time in Oklahoma. And he walked up to me and he was wearing a big American flag belt buckle and a Vietnam veteran trucker cap. And he said, "Young lady, I sure do love this song, but I have a bone to pick with you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm definitely listening to whatever this man says, for sure." He said, "Love the song, but I don't think that man smoked Marlboro Reds. I think he smoked," I think he said, American Spirit. Yeah, that's what he said, yeah. And I said, "Well, sir, the song is already recorded." He said, "That's all right." Next time I'll be sure to consult somebody older than me, though. I kissed the ground after Japan, came back home to be a mailman, right here in Crossville, Tennessee. We bought this farm to raise a family, and we planned for 4, but we had 5. Your baby sister was a big surprise. I know I don't have much to show, but I'm the richest man I know. So raise a glass to my good long life. Don't dress in black, don't let me see you cry. I'm not afraid, I'm just headed home, and it's time to let me go. It's time to let me go. He wore overalls to meet his king, took a pack of Marlboro Reds and his wedding ring. Thank you all so much for such a lovely evening. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Do you want one more song? Okay, all right. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. What'd you say? Encore. I can do that. Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a Friday night, so we're all, yeah. Oh, yeah. We don't have to be at Squat and Gobble till 10. I think we might have to go there earlier because we got to go to North Carolina tomorrow, so, oh, man. Oh, which one? Oh, the song, The Dress? Oh, okay. That's kind of a heavy one. Do you want that for the encore? I don't know. Light, heavy. Oh, okay, hang on. Okay, all right. I know what I'm going to do. Okay. Oh, man. This is funny because I suddenly remember all the songs in my catalog now in the encore section. Okay. I'm going to do 2 more. And, okay. All right. Okay, I know nobody asked for this one, but you're going to love it, I promise. I love playing this one because it's about everything about being a touring musician that's not glamorous. And it's a funny song that I wrote back when I was really just first touring. And one night I played at a bar in San Diego, which was like a dicey decision to begin with. And I got there, I was opening for another band, and there was nowhere for anyone to get ready because it's a bar, so there's like no backstage or anything. And I was the only woman in the venue. So everybody working, when it was a couple guys during sound check, and then the band was all guys. And there was one women's restroom. And I was like, oh, great, I'm the only lady here, and there's no one in the venue yet, so I'll go get ready in the women's restroom. And I went, and the door was locked. And I was like, who's in my bathroom? It was the sound guy. And he was in there for 15 minutes. And I was like, bro, I'm not going in there after you. That is so not cool. It was so not cool. Sorry I put that image in all of your minds, but you just need to know that I know that this looks really like, you know, a really glamorous life, and it's not always. Sometimes the sound guy is using your bathroom. So I went and did my makeup. This is when I learned the hard way that you should always do your makeup before you go to a venue. I went and did my makeup in my rental car in the back, behind the club, by the light of a street lamp, next to a dumpster, where there was a fine gentleman in the alleyway asking me what my name was. And I was like, oh, good Lord. So this is about the finer moments of being a traveling artist. The other trick that maybe y'all don't know is that Walmart parking lots are the safest place to spend the night in a car if you're going to do it. I don't sleep in my car, but my husband and I lived in an RV for 4 years, and we spent many a night in the Walmart parking lot. It's a thing. And to be honest, like in every Walmart parking lot, there's like a camp of people in the back. Next Walmart you go to, just look. You'll see them. You'll see a couple RVs, and you'll see some folks in their cars and vans. Yeah, campfire. I mean, people really hang out in Walmart parking lots. This is called White Hot Country Mess. It's inspired by these white boots of mine. Been driving this old car around from coast to coast through little towns, pushing for 250,000 miles. I know where the gas is cheap, South Carolina. But Walmart's where it's safe to sleep. I roll up to every show in style, 'cause I'm a white hot country mess in cowgirl boots and a thrift store dress, paying my dues out on the road, just a Gibson and the songs I wrote, a white hot country mess. You put men in charge of dressing rooms, there's beer and whiskey, that's assumed, but not a single mirror to be found. It's just dirty bathrooms, dingy lights, and dealing with the drunk sound guy. Hey buddy, could you turn the reverb down? I'm a white hot country mess in cowgirl boots and a thrift store dress, paying my dues out on the road, just a Gibson and the songs I wrote, a white hot country mess. You can really make this life look grand if you filter it on Instagram. Hashtag the Americana dream. But the truth is we're all hanging on by prayer and by song and a heavy drug addiction to caffeine. I'm a white hot country mess in cowgirl boots and a thrift store dress, paying my dues out on the road, still booking every single show, a white hot country mess. Well, there's nothing that I cannot do with a double latte and dry shampoo. I'm a white hot country mess. I'm a white hot country mess. Oh, thank you. Yay! Okay, encore to that song. Um, it's amazing for those of you men in the room who don't know what dry shampoo is. Um, it's witchcraft. Makes you look like you showered when you didn't. Uh, it's like this thing you put in your hair. It soaks up the grease, makes your hair look fresh and clean, if not a little crunchy. But it's baby powder in an aerosol can is what it is, and um, and anyways, women are constantly coming up with ways to trick you, and that is one of them. It just is. It's not even really for you. It's for other women. But just so you know, it's for our own vanity. But anyways, double espressos and dry shampoo are literally what keep me going. Mom and I drove 5 hours today, which was one of our shorter days. And oh, yeah, and thanks, Mom. Mom is in the back. She's back there. Is she back there? I see her. She's standing by the merch table, ready to take any form of payment that you want to give. We accept cards, we accept Venmo, we accept cash, airline miles, you know, trades for massage, gift cards to Squat and Gobble. Mom is helping run merch for me, and she set up a beautiful merch table, and we got a couple special things. We have these limited edition silk screen printed posters of original art for my album, American Siren, and they're gorgeous. They're by a beautiful artist in Nashville. So we have a couple of those over there, and we also have T-shirts with a pretty picture of me on them, looking real glammed up. It's my album cover for American Siren, and so we've got those in lots of sizes, and they're very soft. They're very nice for sleeping in. And I think it's kind of a faux pas as a musician to wear your own merchandise, like to be walking around with a T-shirt with your own face on it. But they're so comfortable that I just don't care. And also, I run out of things to wear when I can't do laundry on the road. So, anyways, they are approved and tested by me. I'm sorry, the one that you will buy has not been worn by me. Let me clarify, I got my own one, my own T-shirt. I didn't, try them all on. Used T-shirt. Oh, dear. Yeah, oops. Let's get one. Yep, yeah. Okay, I got one more for you, and then I'm going to send you on your way, and so really, this new record has kind of a thesis to it. And it's in some ways, it's about losing your religion and finding your faith. Yeah. Every day in faith I came. Every day in faith I came, and by some miracle beyond me, I found my way. 'Cause every day in faith I came. Some lessons, they were hard to learn. Some lessons, they were hard to learn. But I thank my darkest teachers for the scars that I have earned. Some lessons, they were hard to learn. If I'd seen the hills and valleys on the road, if I'd seen the hills and valleys on the road, I might have never had the courage to pack my bags and go. If I'd seen the hills and valleys on the road. still. I love you, and I swear I always will. 'Cause every day in faith I came. Every day in faith I came. And by some miracle beyond me, I found my way. 'Cause every day in faith I came. And by some miracle beyond me, I found my way. 'Cause every day in faith I came. Ooh. Every day in faith I came. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Roasting Room. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to scoot back to the corner and I will see you there. Thank you, thank you, thank you.